Okay, so I'm making a quick follow-up video for the monolith video I made that is 1 hour long. It's about some information that I just tested. I spent like 2 hours testing it today uh, while streaming. I'm gonna post the VOD in the description if you want to see what I tested, but I'm gonna go over it a bit quick because this is not supposed to be a long video. It's about some things I found out that are a bit important, I believe. So what I have found is that I have this here. So there seems to be, it's not really a hard cap, but there is a cap of like 6 potentials on your main, and there seems to be a cap of 5 potentials on your support. So what I mean by cap is that once you pick 6 different potentials on Shia, you will not be able to see a 7th potential. And that changes things a bit because that means that once you pick your 4 core potentials for my build, um, you will not be able to pick, you will only be able to pick 2 generic potentials. So right now, if I wanted Leper and Gale on this record, I couldn't get it. The only way to get a 7th potential that I managed to do one time during my testing is if you have 4 level 6 potentials, and then you have 6 potentials and 4 level 6 potentials, and then you take a Shia bottle in the potential shop, for example, you will be able to take a 7th potential. But that's very hard to do, and you have to it's very specific, and that's something that will most likely happen at the very end of the run. And there seems to be the same thing with supports, but on supports the cap is 1 lower, it seems to be 5. So if you have 5 potentials on a support, you will not be able to see a 6th one unless you have 3 level 6, in which case you will be offered a 6th one. Otherwise, you will only see upgrades. And what I mean by that is at the upgrade machine, you will always see upgrades, obviously, but it's when you get a potential at the end of the room or you buy a new potential. So you cannot get 7 on your main unless you have 4 level 6 already, and same for your supports. You cannot get 6 unless you have 3 level 6 already. So that changes things a bit, I believe, because on Shia, for example, you kind of want these 4, and then you can take like these 3, you want maybe this, and if you have your core 4 potentials, then you can only pick 2. So right now I think the 2 best ones to pick are Rabbids Beam and Wave to Oblivion, but it may vary. If you're good, you may want to take Leper and Gales and Rabbit Beam, or Leper and Gale Wave to Oblivion. If you really need the dodge, you can take Air's Pursuit, but I think Air's Pursuit is significantly worse now that I know this information, because it will take up the spot of Rabbit Beam or Leper and Gale or Wave to Oblivion. It will take a spot, so unless you get it at the very very end as your 7th potential, which will be hard to make it happen because you need 4 level 6 potentials, in which case I think it's decent, but otherwise it's a bit hard to achieve, I believe. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is upgrades. So when you are in a run and you get a new potential somewhere that's not at the upgrade machine, you often can pick a new potential or upgrade one of your potentials 1 level. The thing is to get upgrades, and I tested that like on at least 10 different runs. If you have only one potential, like imagine on Tilia you start your run, like for example you have a record like that, not this one, like this one for example. So imagine you get one perfect arc on Minova at the start. Until you pick a second potential on Minova, you will not be able to upgrade perfect arc when you pick a new potential. So at the upgrade machine it will work, because the upgrade machine picks only potentials you have. But if you don't have a second potential, if you never picked a second potential on the character yet, you will not be offered natural upgrades on it. And I think that's a bit important, especially if you get a really good passive early. Like for example, if you get enemy counter very early on Tilia, you will want to pick something else as soon as possible to start getting natural upgrades on enemy counter and not be forced to take bad potentials. And that's the same for every character. If you get an early Sub-Zero Dominion, you want to take something else on Shia. And because of the 6 potential tech, the thing is that when you have 6 potentials in your pool, you will only get these 6 potentials until you max at least 4 of them to level 6. So that means that you kind of want to fill your potential pool early on Shia. That way, every potential that will be from Shia will only contain these 6 upgrades possibly. So that's a bit different. You can play a bit differently than I did in my 1 hour video then, and focus on filling up your 6 potential pool as fast as possible. I don't think filling up the pool on Minova is good, because on Minova you only really want these 3, you don't want anything else because they are all bad. But on Tilia you can fill it and take 5, and so that you only get these 5 offered. That's also possible. One other thing, if the pool of potential is weird how it works, because I also tested that, obviously. But when you have 6 and you max 1 to 6, it cannot appear anymore, but you still won't be offered a new potential. It's only when you have 4 at 6 that you will be offered a new one. Just to clarify, if you have even 3 at 6, if you have 3 potential at 6, and I tested that, I managed to do it, I had 3 potential at 6 on Shia. And so I took a Shia bottle in the last shop. I rolled like 600 coins, could have been more, whatever, and I only got offered the other 3 potentials every roll. Maybe I'll make a clip of that and put it in the description as well, but the pool does not decrease even if they are at 6. They cannot appear if they are at 6, but your 6 pool is still 6 until you have at least 4. And when you have 4, then you can be offered a new one, because a Shia potential will always have 3 choices. So that means that there will obviously be a new potential there. So yeah, to start upgrading potential early, pick a second one, and 655 are the numbers to remember, I think. So yeah, I think that's it for today. I'll do more testing at some point in the coming weeks. And yeah, thanks for watching.